This particular project was inspired by the Dollar Tree Shore Living line, and I know it's been super popular at Dollar Tree. It's probably their most popular collection to date for the summertime. A few of the items will be used in this particular project. If you've watched any of my videos, I am a huge Little Mermaid fan. And while this is not Disney Little Mermaid, I still really love mermaids in general. Anything mermaids. The colors, just the silhouettes, everything mermaid. So I thought it would be really fun to create a wreath based around all of the Shore Living items that I purchased. At the time when I was purchasing these items, I didn't really have a project in mind other than, ooh, I love mermaids, 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 and mermaids. So I just thought, well, I have a wreath form at home and I'm trying to do better about actually shopping my stash. I have quite a few items in my craft space, which if you have seen my craft room makeover / tour, I will put that link in the description below. But if you've seen that video, you will know that I have quite a bit of craft supplies. So I want to do better at actually shopping my stash. I went into my stash and I found a couple items. This is a wreath form, but it's not your typical wreath form. So I had this bicycle wheel wreath ring, which I didn't really know. I bought 2 of these before, and I didn't really know how I was going to use it. But until an idea came to mind, this has been stored away. I also had my circular disc, which I am going to probably be gluing these 2 together to kind of mimic a wreath form. So I have those 2 items as our base. I got this really adorable Mermaids Have More Fun sign. I did purchase this mermaid, which I was so lucky to find her. And yes, she is broken. She's missing her fin. She's missing her other arm. But I know that this piece has been so hard to find and coveted. And I knew that if I put her back, I was never going to find her again. So I actually got the very last one, broken and all, but we're going to make this work. And then I found this really pretty tablecloth with the starfish in this really pretty colorway. And then for the meshes, oh my gosh, this color, this seafoam green is probably one of my most favorite colors. When I think about summer, I think about this color. It is this color along with coral is what I think of when I think of summer. It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. So I got 2 of those. And then I got this one that's tan, and it has this really pretty blue threading throughout. So I thought that would be really perfect, blend in really nicely. And then from Easter, I have this really pretty blue ribbon from Dollar Tree. Also from Dollar Tree, from their Valentine's Day collection, this berry garland, and then pearl garland. Some artificial ribbons from the Dollar Spot in Michael's. I have from Hobby Lobby, I'm gonna be using this Coral Cove and Light Coral paint. And then we are going to be using a bunch of flowers. So I had most of this already in my stash. I have quite a lot of artificial flowers in my collection so far, and a lot of them, as you can see, are not used. And I just like to have them on hand for projects, for wreaths, whatever the case may be. So I was going through literally every flower I had, and I just chose the colors and colorways that I wanted my wreath to be. So as you can see, I have a lot of greens and different hues of blues and greens and purples and corals. So it's going to be a really pretty wreath. So a lot of this, apart from the Shore Living line, I already had. So I really encourage all of you crafters that instead of accumulating, which is really easy to do, especially at Dollar Tree, because Dollar Tree is a weakness of mine. So it's really hard for me to take my own advice, but I'm trying to do better about actually going through my stash and using what I have, because the things that you can come up with is actually quite beautiful. So I know I pulled out a lot of things out of what I have in my collection, and some of it will get used, some of it won't, but I wanted to be able to kind of pull together a color palette with a wide array of ribbons and flowers and all sorts of things. It's just to get the juices flowing and put this wreath together. So let's go ahead and start. So there's been a little bit of an update to this. I did go ahead and remove the tablecloth and I had to replace it with a new piece, but I decided to paint the bottom part of the wood this really pretty beach glass color. And then I placed a little bit of glue and then I put the tablecloth over it. Initially when I put the tablecloth on with just the raw wood coming through, I didn't like that look at all. Now that there's this really pretty, very subtle blue sage background to the wood, I feel that the mermaid kind of pops a little bit more versus how it was gonna look with just the unfinished wood. So that was just personal preference for me, but if you like it like that, then by all means, don't paint the background. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off all of this extra tablecloth. So before I glue the main piece to the center of the wreath, I did want to cover as much of this wireframe as much as possible, just because I need to be able to have some sort of a foundation to place all of my flowers and knickknacks around. So I thought that by adding those little pieces of ribbon and then wrapping it under the wreath frame, that I would have a place for me to glue all of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that all the way around, with the exception of the top part. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space to be able to hang the wreath hanger later. This is what it's gonna look like once you have glued all of the 20 strips of the ribbon. And what I'm gonna do now is just flip it over. We're going to glue this to the center of the wreath. Now that the frame is glued down, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap all of these ribbons to the back like so and glue them down. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like afterward. It just kind of looks like a really nice piece of pastry. I wouldn't worry too much about what the back looks like, because this is the back, but if you wanted to go ahead and cover this part, you definitely could. I think I might, just because I do have some of the wires sticking out from the ribbon. So I might cover that at the very end, but this is what the front looks like. And I think it looks really pretty so far. Essentially, that's where the wreath hanger is gonna go. So that's a little opening that I left. We're just gonna go in and start filling the sides here. The next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna take the decorative mesh that I got, and I'm going to wrap these together. So I'm going to cut, I'm not really gonna measure or anything. I'm just gonna cut little pieces. So essentially, I'm just gonna cut about a square. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with this one. So I'm just gonna cut a square. Again, not really measuring. And then I'm going to just wrap tubes of this. And I did this in a previous video when I was doing my Pirates of the Caribbean We Want the Redhead wreath, which I'll go ahead and put a link down below. That one, I believe I cut 8-inch pieces out of the decorative mesh, but for this particular wreath, I'm just not really gonna measure, but you can do that, and it's the same sort of concept where you just cut a piece out and then you just roll it from corner to corner on the diagonal. So you're gonna end up with a tube like this. And then once you have a tube, I'm just going to crisscross these together like so. And then I'm also gonna take this wire floral ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna cut a little piece off. and then just basically twist them together like so. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to off camera just make a ton of these little pieces and then we will be right back. So here are all the bundles together, and for this project I decided I'm going to be putting 2 of them together like this, so it almost looks like a little star. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue these together, and with the amount that I have about, with 2 together, 26 total, plus 1 straggler that I'm going to just somehow incorporate into one of the pre-existing bundles. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue them together like so, and then we will be right back. After you have them assembled, you're going to then hot glue them down to the frame of the wreath. And when I was kind of playing around with this, I just wanted to see how I wanted it to look. And what I found was I really, really liked the idea of overlapping them on top of each other so that it covers, so if I have this one down here, so that it covers any sort of blank spaces and things like that. And I'm not going to worry too much about this, about the wire showing, because that will be covered eventually with flowers and other items. There's really no rhyme or reason to how I do it, just however you prefer your wreaths to look, I'd say go for it. So this is what it looks like after you have all of the mesh starfish, as I'm going to call them, all the way around. I did go ahead and leave the space at the top, which is where our wreath hanger is going to be placed through. So I'm going to add these in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more of the coral flowers, because I want to tie that back in with the actual mermaid that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and just de-stem these and glue them onto the frame. Generally, when I'm adding flowers onto a wreath, I do like to think of it like a clock, because it is a circle. And I find that to be a really good guide when you're adding in your flowers, so that you don't have too much in one location or too much of one color in one location. You can really just space it out a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I haven't glued these down yet, but I put it as a place marker to see exactly where it's gonna lay so that you don't have interference from all your other items that are in the wreath itself. And while we're talking about this, I know that her arm is missing, so we're going to be covering that, but also her tail is missing here. And what I thought was pretty cool is that there is a part of the mermaid's tail here, which is the part that she's missing. So I thought it would be, and it is coral as well, so I thought it'd be really fun to kind of put it like that so it almost looks like her tail, if you can see that. So it almost looks like, it's a little bit wonky right here, but it kind of looks like her tail going from a solid coral to an outline of her tail. So I thought that was really cool. So that's how we're gonna solve the missing fin. Now for her arm, I'm not sure yet. Still trying to piece this together as I go, but that's where I'm at so far. And here's a look at the final project. I absolutely loved how it turned out. It's just so reminiscent of mermaids and the colors and summer. It's just so beautiful. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. Please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel out when you guys subscribe and comment and like videos. So I really appreciate all of you that have done so and continue to support my channel. And I look forward to bringing to you another Dollar Tree DIY coming your way. I have a few scheduled for the summer, so you won't want to miss any of them. So do turn on your notifications. And until next time, bye for now.